Hi, I'm Anne. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a super low-key video because I'm exhausted from finals this week and I'm done with all but 2 at this point. So almost done. I finished my big paper actually today, like 5 minutes ago. So that's great. But I wanted to do some sort of video this week that was not hard for me to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the resolutions that I had for at the beginning of 2021, and I'm going to see if I actually completed them. I have only been keeping track of 2 of my resolutions and I don't even remember the other 3, so we'll see how we do. And then at the end of this video I'm going to be doing the end of year book tag, which was originally created by Ariel Bissett, and it's such a classic book tag to do on BookTube because you can do it every year and it's fitting for every year and it's a quick tag. So we're going to do both of that today. I don't know how long this video will be. It will probably be shorter than my regular videos, but let's just jump into my resolutions. Okay, let's go. Number 1 is I want to focus more on quality over quantity. Have I done that? I would say yes and no. I have been picking up a lot of books that I have been avoiding, either books that I own or books that have been on my TBR, and I may have been forced to pick them up because with War and Peace, obviously I was forced to pick that up. Yeah, I would say I probably did this, but not as much as I was hoping at the beginning of the year. I have these high goals for myself that I'm like, yeah, I can be this highly insightful reader, and the reality is no, I'm pretty shallow. I mean, I still enjoy academic works, but I don't get super into analyzing philosophy and things like that. Love philosophy, I'm just not good at it. So I would say success, kind of. Number 2 goal is read 2 books a month that I own. I have done this. Read 2 books that I own per month, and I have done this. In fact, since I've been pulling out 2 cards for my month, I've been reading more than 2 books a month. I'm pretty sure I'm on 30 books this year that I've read off of my actual bookshelf, but it's a lot. And my goal was 24 for the entire year. I think at the beginning of the year I was slow, and then I caught up, and then I was just namby-pamby about it, but I have succeeded in that, and I think that's probably the only goal from this list that is going to move over into next year, because I do want to be able to read most of the books that are on my shelf. This next one is possibly going to be the hardest because I have a bad habit of going to the Goodwill, going to used bookstores and just buying a bunch of books on impulse because they're cheap. But the next goal I'm setting for myself is going to restrain my buying addiction of books, and that is for every book I buy, I have to get rid of a book. Okay, so the next one is for every book I buy, I have to get rid of a book. This one I would say is mostly a success. In fact, I have been buying books. I know I shouldn't. I will probably do a haul maybe next week, but I'm also going to be doing a massive unhaul. I am getting rid of a lot of books. I hauled some books a month or 2 ago, and I said, at the end of the year, I'm going to get rid of equal books. So I hauled 20 books, and now I'm hoping to get rid of 20 books. I already have the 20 books, and then I also have a massive pile below them that I'm also trying to get rid of. So I have quite a few books I'm going to be getting rid of. So I'm saying that's 90% a success. Maybe not entirely a success. I don't know if it's exactly 1-to-1, but it's at least 1 to 1.05. So yeah, a success. The next one, my 4th resolution, is kind of similar to the read 2 books on my bookshelf, and that is simply read more books that I have on my TBR. Okay, the next one is read more books that I have on my TBR. This one I actually stopped following more the last 3 months of the year, and basically that is because I wanted to focus more on my bookshelf books. Saying that, I recently went over my TBR and I have read 24 books from my TBR. So I did complete that, but I didn't go over that, and I'm not going to fixate on that next year because here's the thing. Yes, my TBR is kept in this notebook and it's really full and there's a lot of books on there, but also if I had 20 more books to that list, that's only literally one more page of the book notebook. Whereas if I add 20 books to my bookshelf, that takes up a lot of space. So I definitely want to focus more on that. My last resolution is a little bit about genres. Last year, I tried to read more sci-fi genre, and this year I want to focus more on fantasy, specifically epic fantasy. Oh, this year I want to focus more on fantasy. Okay, let me go on my Goodreads actually, because I'm not sure if I could like technically say I completed this or not. Because I did read some fantasy. I did read some big fantasy. I read the first book of the Wheel of Time series. I read the first book of the Anne McCaffrey Dragonflight series. I read the last 2 books of Lord of the Rings. Like I just read last month, I read Empire of a Vampire, and that was like 800 pages. So I'm going to say technically yes, I did complete this, but I completely forgot that I had this on my list of things to do. So yay. Now we get to the end of year book tag. Oh, okay. So I may actually have to, let me take my headphones out. I may actually have to grab the books for these because this was a completely unplanned video, because I was like, I need to get a video out for Saturday, and I'm just like swamped with all the tests I have to do. So, number 1, are there any books that you started this year that you need to finish? I do have a few, actually. Let me get my phone first. Let me get my phone. So, because I have like a few that are on there that I need to finish. So, I have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber that I need to read for my book club. And I'm like currently halfway done with that, and I'm kind of vibing with it. It's such a ridiculous book, but I'm kind of loving it. It's one of those books that's like almost so bad that you kind of like it. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. And the next one I'm reading is Once Upon a Wardrobe by Patty Callahan. So Patty wrote last year Becoming Mrs. Lewis, which was a fictionalized version of C.S. Lewis and his wife. So I loved that book, and I saw this one was coming out, and it's kind of the same thing. It's a fictionalized version of C.S. Lewis's life, but of like these 2 children, young people that he meets and kind of befriends. It's kind of a long story. It's about obviously the Chronicles of Narnia, but I'm loving it so far. And then I have like a couple random Christmas books that I want to read, but I haven't started those. The other 2 I actually have to finish. I have, of course, Sources of Chinese Tradition. I'm not sure if I'm going to get this done. I haven't read any of it so far, and we're already like over a week into December, so yay. And then I also have the Mandarin to read, which I'm really not enjoying it, actually. I think I'm only like 30 pages in, 27 pages in. But I'm not enjoying this so far, but it is only like 27 pages in, so yeah, so those are a bunch of books that I need to read. Number 2, do you have an autumnal how is this so hard for me to say, autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Okay, yeah, fine. No, I don't really like have a book at the end of year. I would say like the only book that I kind of do read a lot of times, especially during like the holiday season, is The Christmas Carol, because it gets you in this like such a good mood for like giving and caring during the holiday season, especially when things are so like crazy and like consumerist in recent years. I mean, some of the consumerism I love, because you know, you have holiday things like peppermint mocha coffee creamer that always comes out around Christmas time, and I love that. So some consumerism is good, but like I feel like we go overboard and like we fixate on presents as opposed to like spending time with family and like caring for people. I don't know. So I do always like The Christmas Carol, not just for Christmas, but in general, like at this end time of year. I think it's a great story, and it's really quick to read. So number 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? So I have a few like mystery series that I follow that I'm looking forward to like new books in them. But here's the thing, I don't look into like new releases that much. Like sometimes I'll get on an impulse and be like, yeah, I should look to see what's like released and like see if it's cool, but I don't actually follow enough authors like devoted enough to say, oh yeah, I need to absolutely like look to see if they have a book coming out and like I get excited and hyped about that. I just don't do that because usually I get disappointed. Number 4, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Oh, well, I already said this. Here, I'll give you like the 3 Christmas ones that I have on. I got them from the library already, but I don't know anything about them, but I wanted some like Christmassy reads, and I've seen at least 2 of these like floating around. The first one is Christmas in Peachtree Bluff by Christy Woodson Harvey. This one looked like a cute, cozy Christmas story, and then I have 2 like Christmas romances. Christmas is like one of the few times that I actually like crave reading romances, or like I really like them. It doesn't help that I'm like getting married in February, so I've been really enjoying reading more romances. It's really bad. But those 2 that I have are A Princess by Christmas by Julia London and A Christmas Bride by Anne Gracie. I'm pretty sure at least The Christmas Bride is like clean. I don't read like dirty romances at all. But The Princess by Christmas just looked like a fun story. So yeah, I guess those 3 I want to get done, and I haven't started them, so technically it doesn't count on my list of books to finish by the end of this year. Number 5, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Out of all the ones I'm currently reading, no. Though I definitely do think that Once Upon a Wardrobe isn't necessarily going to be like my favorite book of this year, but it's probably going to be up there. I haven't read many like new releases for this year, but out of all the new releases I've read, I haven't loved a lot of them. Like some of them I've enjoyed, but they're not amazing. Whereas this one so far is pretty darn good. So we'll see. Maybe that will be like my new favorite book of the year, but it's also like new favorite release of this year as opposed to like just the favorite book I've read this year, because I've read a lot of good books this year. Number 6, have you already started making reading plans for 2021? No, I haven't. The only reading plan I've actually thought about is that I want to continue reading as many as possible books that are on my shelves that I actually already own, but I probably won't be having many goals or reading resolutions. I probably won't have a full video for it simply because in 2022, my life is going to change a lot. I'm going to be getting married. I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be graduating from college and finding like a more official job instead of like a part-time retail job. There's a lot of like plans in my like personal life that I'm prioritizing over reading plans, but I definitely do want to read a lot of books, just not necessarily like plan to read them. So obviously I haven't been tagged in this tag, and I'm not tagging anybody just because. Did you have any resolutions for 2021? How did they go? What do you think of reading resolutions? Do you think they're good or bad, helpful, not helpful? Are there any books that you are excited for, new releases, or books that you've just started, things like that? Let me know any thoughts down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe. I post every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will see you all in the next video. Hopefully less stressed because school will be done. Have a great week. Bye!